If you've ever tried to crack open Alan's Keynotes, you know it's a giant in materia medica. But let's be honest, it can feel like trying to memorize a phone book that's been thrown in a blender. Well, today, we're going to change that. We are unlocking the secrets to studying this amazing text the right way so you can turn all that confusion into real clinical confidence.
So let's just get right into it. This is the big question, isn't it? You've got this incredibly powerful book, just packed with essential information, but the symptoms aren't laid out from head to toe. They seem kind of random. So how in the world are you supposed to learn it? How do you make it stick? That's exactly what we're going to figure out together.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle what I call the keynote conundrum and get the story behind its strange structure. Then, I'm going to give you a super powerful 4-part framework and an active reading toolkit. And finally, we'll see how all of this connects directly to real-world practice.
Okay, first things first, let's just admit it. This book has a reputation. It's foundational, no doubt. It's powerful, for sure. And yeah, it is famously difficult. But, and this is a big but, only if you go at it the wrong way.
And this is the paradox, right? Every student, every practitioner, we all know we need to master this book. But trying to read it like a normal textbook, it's just a recipe for frustration. You read a line, it's gone. You read a whole page, and it feels like a jumbled mess of facts. Look, this is not your fault. It's because the book was never meant to be read that way.
But what if I told you that what seems like chaos is actually the key to its genius? That the structure isn't a flaw at all, it's a feature. And to really get why, we need to dive into the story behind the symptoms.
So here's the absolute crucial point. Alan's Keynotes is not a textbook. It's a highlight reel. Think of it this way. Dr. H.C. Allen wasn't just listing every symptom he could find. No, he was meticulously selecting only the purest, most authentic, and, this is key, clinically proven keynotes from the absolute legends of his time. Each symptom in there is a gem, polished by real-world experience. And this timeline really tells you everything about his motivation. You know, Dr. Allen didn't start out as this purist. He was a polypharmacist, meaning he'd use multiple remedies at once. That all changed when he saw masters like Dr. Lippi curing deadly diseases like diphtheria with just a single, well-chosen remedy. That conversion was so powerful it inspired him to create the ultimate tool for that exact purpose, a book that cuts through all the noise and gives you only the most reliable symptoms to find that one perfect prescription. And listen, this is a huge piece of advice from modern masters. That sequence of symptoms you see in the original editions, it is deliberate. It has clinical meaning. Those later versions that try to fix it by rearranging everything from head to toe, they actually destroy the clinical logic. So pro tip, if you really want to master this book, stick to the original format. Okay, so we get the why. Now it's time for the how. How do we actually study this thing? Well, we do it with a simple, repeatable 4-part framework. This is going to be your blueprint for breaking down any remedy in the entire book.
The failed approach is what pretty much all of us try at first, right? We just read line by line, trying to cram it all in, and it just doesn't stick. The expert approach is totally different. It's all about dissecting each remedy into 4 logical parts, which gives your brain a mental scaffold to hang all that information on.
And here they are, the 4 parts. First, you get the core essence. Second, you look for the causes and the general picture. Third, you dig into the specific clinical conditions. And fourth, you get those crucial relationships to other remedies. Now, to make this crystal clear, we're going to walk through a classic example, nux vomica. Part 1, it's right there in the first few lines. It gives you the remedy in a nutshell. For nux vomica, you immediately see a person, right? Thin, irritable, driven, zealous, prone to indigestion. This is what we call the genus, the essential character of the remedy, that you can often spot from across the room.
Okay, next up, you look for the cause. What brought this person to this state? Part 2 almost always lays out the ailments from. And for nux, it's a classic list of modern life, isn't it? Too much coffee, tobacco, alcohol, spicy food, too much mental strain, not enough sleep. This context really helps you confirm that initial picture you got in Part 1. Now, Part 3 is where you find the absolute golden nuggets for prescribing. Allen will list these pathological conditions, but he always gives you a weird, peculiar, distinguishing symptom to go with it. So it's not just any backache, it's a nux vomica backache when the pain is so intense the person has to physically sit up just to turn over in bed. That's a keynote. And finally, Part 4. This section has immense practical value.
The Relations and Modalities section tells you which remedies work well with or after nux, like sulfur. Now, this isn't just some fun fact. It's a clinical roadmap. It helps you manage a case over time, and it guides your second or third prescription. It's huge.
So once you've really got that 4-part framework down, you can start adding some more advanced tools to your active reading toolkit. And these techniques are going to help you pull out an even deeper layer of understanding from the text.
First up is what I call comparative study. You ever wonder about those other remedies listed in brackets all through the text? They are not random. Think of them as a direct invitation from Allen himself to compare and contrast. He's basically saying, hey, this symptom is similar to this other remedy, but here's how you can tell them apart. Here's a perfect example of this in action. The text for abratanum mentions marasmus. That's a type of severe malnutrition, especially in the legs. But right there in the brackets, it lists natrimur. So you flip over to natrimur, and you see its marasmus is famously centered on the neck. Just like that, with that one simple comparison, you've gained a massive degree of prescribing precision. The next amazing pattern to keep an eye out for is alternating symptoms. This is when a patient tells you they have two totally separate problems that never seem to happen at the same time. You know, when one gets better, the other one gets worse, and back and forth. This is an incredibly strong and reliable keynote.
Abratanum gives us a perfect example of this. A patient might say, you know, when my joint pain flares up, my digestive issues completely go away. But as soon as my joints feel better, boom, the hemorrhoids or dysentery come right back. When you hear that pattern, your brain should immediately go to abratanum. It is a total lock-and-key symptom.
And finally, always pay close attention to the modalities. Those are the factors that make a symptom better or worse. These are so often the ultimate tiebreakers between two remedies that look really similar. What time of day does it happen? Lycopodium is famous for that 4 to 8 p.m. aggravation. Is it better or worse from cold? Causticum's paralysis often kicks in after exposure to a cold wind. These little details, they're everything.
Okay, we've broken down the philosophy, we've got a framework, and we have our advanced tools. The final step is connecting all of this to the real world, turning that hard-earned knowledge into precise, effective clinical results. And check out this beautiful real-world example. A practitioner saw a young girl with these skin eruptions and dark marks left behind from scratching. Instead of some long, drawn-out case-taking, he recognized the single, powerful keynote from Allen's, Let him pal for long discoloration after injuries. He gave one dose, the eruptions vanished. That is the power of knowing this material deeply. It lets you prescribe in a way that is fast, precise, and just profoundly confident. So, we've gone on a journey from seeing this book as this big, confusing mystery to seeing it for what it is, a masterfully constructed tool. You now have the blueprint to understand its structure and the tools to analyze its content. So the only question left is, which remedy are you going to unlock first?